Hi, my name is Courtney Crawford, and I'm one of the therapists and clinical supervisors here at El Futuro. We want to thank you so much for your support of El Futuro, especially in this past year. And as a token of gratitude, we actually wanted to share with you a couple stress management tips that we often share with our clients here at El Futuro. And we are definitely not under the illusion that it's only El Futuro clients who have experienced a lot of stress in this past year. We know everyone has. And so I want to share with you two tips. One is more cognitive, or more about the way we think about things or perceive things, and the other is more experiential. So for the cognitive tip, what I want to suggest that you do is that you actually write a list of the things that are worrying you right now. Now, I know that that in itself might not be a very pleasant experience, but stay with me. Once you've written that list, I want you to distinguish two different categories of those things. I want you to put them into two categories. The first is things that I can control, and the second is things that are outside of my control. I actually even like to draw those in concentric circles, and in the interior circle, write a list of things that I can control, and in the exterior, things that I can't. But the important part of the exercise is not to just leave that there, but then when these things come to our mind, we're going to do different things with them depending on which circle they're in. So if a worry comes to my mind that is part of that interior circle of things that I can control, what I want to suggest you do is to think about the next step that you are going to take toward that, resolving or finding health in that worry. So for example, if one of those worries is my health, often in stress, it's not a good idea to make grand plans for changes, but really to make goals that are just the next step in the journey. So for example, if I was thinking about my health, I'm not going to say, okay, tomorrow I'm going to go run a marathon, right? That wouldn't be practical, and that would just sort of make me more distressed if I didn't achieve that goal. But I might say, okay, the next step in my journey of health is that tomorrow I'm going to make sure that I'm active for 15 minutes. So that's what we want to do with the things in our interior circle, is to think about small steps towards the goals that we have about those things. Now, things that are in that exterior circle, and this is really where the change can happen, we need to do something different with that. A lot of our mental anguish comes from fighting with those things or trying to control those things. And so I want to suggest that maybe you create a mantra for yourself when those things come to mind. So for example, if I'm stressed out about the political climate that is really not within my control, when those things come to mind, or when I hear something on the TV or radio that might worry me, but it's not within my control, I might just say to myself, Courtney, that's not on you. Courtney, that's not on you. That might be my mantra. You might think of another mantra that you repeat to yourself. Another way to do this a little more experientially is to actually take your hand and fist and imagine that problem or that worry that's not within your control, and imagine it in your fists, and then release it. And you might even accompany that with saying, I'm releasing this. This is not within my control. So that's sort of the cognitive way of one cognitive tip of approaching stress management. The experiential tip that I want to give you is actually one that I use myself and I use in my office all the time. It's a really fun, I actually like to call it imaginary vacation. And you might have heard, maybe when you were younger, people talk about going to their happy place. It's sort of a version of that. But I want you to think about and identify a place that to you transmits peace. This might be a place that you've been to before. It might be a destination you would like to go to. It might be a special place from your childhood. There's sort of no right or wrong on choosing an imaginary place or a place that you want to go to in your imaginary vacation. The one piece of advice I will give you is that when you imagine yourself there, I want you to imagine yourself alone. Because as much as we like to take people that we love along on vacations with us, that can sometimes bring up some distress for different reasons. And so just purely for this exercise, I'm not saying that you need to go on actual vacations alone, but purely for this exercise, I want you to imagine yourself alone. And when you have a moment, I want you to maybe, if you have 5 minutes and you can be alone, you can do this in the bathroom. You can do this. I often, if I'm having trouble sleeping, I often will do this in bed. But I want you to find a place where you have at least 5 minutes where you can sort of be undisturbed. And I want you to close your eyes and start trying to breathe a little bit more slowly. And I want you to use your imagination to go to this place. And then I want you to try and imagine your 5 senses in that place. So I want you to try and imagine what you see as you look around, like what colors, what sights, what objects. Then I want you to imagine what sounds you hear. So do you hear, maybe if you're imagining yourself in a place that's, with lots of vegetation, or rustling of the leaves, or a wind, or other sounds that might be present in that place. Then you do the same thing with what smells do you smell. Even imagine, what do you feel in your skin? So if you're in an outdoor space, and if you're imagining yourself in an outdoor space, that might be how, is there wind? Is there sun? If I'm touching something, how does that feel? And then the last thing you can imagine, if you have something delicious in your mouth that might be associated with that place, what does it taste like? So the idea is to use our 5 senses to really get us into our imagination and really get us into this space. I will admit that when I lead clients in this exercise, we often end up yawning at the end, and that's a really good sign, because that means that that's helped us relax. So after about 5 minutes or so of using your imagination, if that feels like too long, you can do it for less. But after a few minutes of using your imagination to be in that space, then you can imagine yourself coming back to your present, but bringing some of that peace with you. So I hope that these stress management tips have been helpful. And again, thank you so much for your support of El Futuro.
Hi everyone. With your support, we provide around 14,000 treatment sessions a year to families who may not have been able to receive the services anywhere else. We're currently in the process of opening our Durham clinic, and you have been instrumental in helping us make this possible. We hope you enjoy this little video we have from us to you. Thank you for your help this past year.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
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 Thank you. Gracias.
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 Thank you y muchas gracias.
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 Gracias.